I never imagined that a simple wedding dress could spark a fierce rivalry between CEOs. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. It was the kind of day that promised bliss wrapped in satin, yet chaos lurked beneath every stitch. The air was thick with anticipation as I stood in the crowded bridal boutique, hands trembling around the fabric. This wasn't just any dress. This was the dress. My heart raced. Every flicker of movement around me intensified my pulse as whispers of resentment echoed through the racks. Two powerful forces. Two giants in the fashion industry, both vying for my attention. Suzanne Hawthorne, the blazing-eyed CEO of Hawthorne Couture, whose golden mane reflected her hunger for dominance. And on the other side, Blake Donovan, the charismatic yet ruthless mastermind behind Donovan Designs, whose cold blue eyes could freeze fire. And now, they were embroiled in a battle that had little to do with me, until it did. As I slipped into the dress, I felt its weight not just in fabric, but in expectation. The air was electric, charged with the energy of unspoken words. My fingers traced the delicate lace, each thread a testament to a fiery rivalry that sent ripples through the industry. But why this dress? What was so special about it that could ignite such passion and fury? Behind me, the murmurs grew louder. "They're here," someone whispered. I turned my head slightly, catching a glimpse of them both, and my stomach tightened. They might as well have been gladiators, with fans and foes lining the Colosseum, waiting for the first blow. "I am not losing her to you, Blake." Suzanne's voice sliced through the room. "This is more than just a dress. It's a legacy." Her fingers curled into fists, her nails digging into her palm. But Blake simply smiled, a predator preparing to strike. "This is just business, Suzanne. Trust me, I know how to win." A lump formed in my throat. I was caught between them, a pawn in their ruthless game. I had never wanted to be the center of a storm, let alone a war that could reshape the very fabric of successful businesses. Yet here I was, suffocating in expectation, caught in the tension of a rivalry I never asked to be part of. Just as the silence grew almost unbearable, I felt a sudden rush, a chill prickling my skin. Someone stepped forward. No, it couldn't be. I focused on the shadow approaching me, my heart pounding harder. The boutique felt like it was closing in. Whatever they were willing to sacrifice, I knew I was about to find out. Would I emerge unscathed, or would I lose more than just my chance at wearing the dress? Hey! Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The moment the shadow stepped into the light, a gasp rippled through the boutique. It was Vanessa, my closest friend and confidant. Her expression a mix of concern and disbelief. She held a cup of coffee in one hand, the other pressed to her mouth as if to keep from saying the wrong thing. I felt a cascade of relief wash over me. At least someone I trusted was here amidst the chaos. "Are you okay?" she whispered, stepping closer as Suzanne and Blake squared off like titans in a coliseum. I could see the flicker of doubt behind her eyes, the genuine worry that made my heart ache. "I don't know," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "I feel like I'm being used as a bargaining chip for some legacy I don't even understand." "That dress?" she breathed, sweeping her gaze over the lace and satin. "Everyone wants it. You need to decide what you want. As if on cue." Suzanne's voice broke through once more, confident and sharp. "You know, this dress was designed with a vision for the future of fashion. A future you could be a part of." She was trying to reel me in, her voice silky with charm, but I could see the glint of desperation in her eyes. Blake stepped in, his smile still practiced but less genuine than before. "Or," he countered smoothly, "you could join me in something groundbreaking. Something that sets trends rather than follows them." Caught between their powerful pitches, I blinked back tears. What was at stake here was more than just my future in the industry. It was my spirit, my sense of self. I knew there would be no easy decision, and yet the pressure was suffocating. Is this really what you want? Vanessa's voice cut through my turmoil. To be a part of their war? Or do you want to find your own voice? I could hear the flicker of hope in her tone, the whisper of possibilities. In that singular moment, I imagined breaking free from the expectations pressed on me by Suzanne and Blake, unfurling my wings away from their fierce competition. But the image shattered as quickly as it formed, replaced by the icy reality of my impending decision. I hadn't even had the chance to evaluate what my dreams were, what I desired beyond the whirlpool of ambition around me. Then, abruptly, the atmosphere shifted. The door of the boutique swung open with a crash. All heads turned to see a woman stepping inside, damp raindrops cascading down her styled hair, a faux fur coat enveloping her like a cocoon of opulence. The chatter dimmed as she glided through the room, the air electrifying once more. "Good afternoon, everyone," she said, her voice dripping with arrogance, tinged with something else casting an unmistakable shadow. I hope I'm not interrupting, as her name echoed in my mind. A cold wave of recognition washed over me. This was Greta Sullivan, a powerhouse who had once been the talk of the industry, a woman who had built and dismantled dreams with her mere presence. Few dared to cross her. Her past stories were shrouded in legends of fierce ambition and betrayal that I felt my heart drop into my stomach as I realized the stakes had grown immeasurably higher. No longer were Suzanne and Blake simply fighting over a dress. This was the kind of celestial showdown that could alter fortunes, friendships, and dreams within the blink of an eye. "Blake, Suzanne," she greeted them, her expression a mask of cool detachment. "I've been hearing whispers about this dress. Might we discuss a partnership?" The tension in the room spiked, and I could barely breathe. This was not just a rivalry between two companies anymore. This was a dangerous crossroad. I had to make my choice soon, or I risked losing my voice entirely amid a battleground of egos and aspirations. And as I glanced at Vanessa, I saw the same fear reflected in her eyes. What would I become if I lost myself in their ambition? The question hung heavy in the air, threatening to swallow me whole. Before I could voice the turmoil brewing within, Greta's gaze turned toward me, sharp and assessing. "And you? Are you ready to be a part of this?" In that moment, the weight of my decision loomed ominously ahead. Future steeped in uncertainty. My heart thundered. My mind raced. I was faced not just with the weight of the dress on my shoulders but with the maybe of who I could become, or, perhaps more frighteningly, who I might lose in the process. Each beat of my heart echoed the question. Was I strong enough to bend the fabric of their fate to weave my own? Would I unlock the power of my voice or cling to the shreds of what others had crafted for me? As the silence deepened, I felt the walls close in once more. My life was no longer my own. It danced on the precipice of becoming a pawn in an unfolding saga far greater than I ever anticipated. "Are you ready?" Greta asked again, and I could feel everyone's eyes upon me, an entire world awaiting my response. The possibility of fate hanging by a thread. I swallowed hard, knowing one small decision could change the course of everything. And yet, as I opened my mouth to speak, all I felt was the weight of uncertainty wrapped around me like the delicate lace of the dress. The moment was suspended in time, every eye in the room searching mine for clarity, for a signal of which way the tide would turn. But inside, a storm raged. "Are you ready?" Greta echoed, her tone neither demanding nor inviting, but laced with the coldness of someone who knew the power she wielded. I felt the shiver of her gaze, a creeping paralysis that grasped my senses. Just then, my phone buzzed in my pocket, a small reminder from a world beyond this suffocating room. A simple notification. It was a text from my younger sister, Lily. "Are you coming to Mom's birthday dinner tonight?" The words jolted me back to reality. My mother had always dreamed of the grandest parties, dressing up as if every minute was a scene from some fairy tale. Yet over the years, every celebration had become more about outward appearances than about genuine connection. And today, the weight was an echo of the same hollow grandeur as I stood there, torn between two worlds, the gleaming promise of power and influence in one corner and the quiet, tender love of my family in the other. A realization cascaded through me like summer rain. My voice a wisp of a thing didn't just belong to the fashion industry. It dwelled in moments like those, wrapped in the warmth of my sister's laughter and the embrace of my mother's unwavering support. But was this truly what my heart desired? Can you give us a moment? I found my trembling voice, addressing Greta, who looked taken aback, but then waved her hand dismissively as if to say time was of no concern for her. The slight influx of defiance built a fragile courage within me, and I turned away, seeking Vanessa's reassuring presence in the crowd. Let's step outside, I urged. We slipped beyond the boutique doors, the cool air enveloping us in a refreshing embrace. Rain had begun to fall, drenching the streets in a muted symphony of sound. What are you thinking? Vanessa asked, her brow furrowed with concern. But her voice wrapped around me like a lifeline. I can't do this, I confessed, my voice wavering with every word. Not when I feel this way. Not when I could lose myself completely. I don't want to be a mere pawn in their power games. Her eyes softened, and she took a step closer, placing a hand on my shoulder. You're not just a piece to be moved. You have something special, something they want. But you also have the chance to shape your own future. Yeah, but what does that even look like? I stumbled over my thoughts, the fight still raging within me. I don't know what I want, Vanessa. I'm scared. Just then, the rain picked up, a torrential downpour cascading from the sky, and she pulled me into a hug as droplets splattered the ground. For a few precious moments, the chaos of my life faded, replaced by this simple act of kindness, grounding me amidst a torrent of uncertainty. Sometimes it's in the rain that we find clarity, she murmured, pulling back to meet my gaze. When life gets heavy, sometimes the heaviest things help wash the confusion away. Just take a deep breath and listen to your heart. What does it say? A few tentative moments drifted by, the chaos inside refocusing on the beat of my heart. I closed my eyes, listening to the faint rhythm, throbbing only slightly louder than the rain pelting against the pavement. A vision began to form, hazy yet vivid, a dream woven together with threads of authenticity, sincerity, and love. Suddenly, the door of the boutique swung open again, and another figure emerged. I squinted through the veil of rain, struggling to make out the outline, and as the figure stepped closer, my breath caught in my throat. This time it was Jonathan, my estranged father, the man who had walked away from our family years ago. His presence was a stark contrast to the moment I had just shared with Vanessa, shattering the fragile sense of hope I had begun to gather. Jonathan looked older than I remembered, his eyes tired yet fierce, as he approached, drenched but determined. I need to talk to you, he said, his voice barely cutting through the rain-soaked air. The storm in my heart surged anew, now swirling with the tumult of everything unresolved between us. It felt like a bomb detonating in my gut, forcing me to confront the past I had managed to bury beneath layers of ambition and expectation. Now, I managed to choke out, looking from him to Vanessa, who stood frozen from shock. Yes, he insisted, his gaze unwavering. I can't let you make this decision without knowing the truth about why I left. It's time you understood everything. I felt the ground shift beneath me, the solid foundation of my reality fracturing. The battle I had been so focused on now felt trivial against the tumultuous sea of emotions washing over me. Grief, anger, longing, and unanswered questions. I was 10 again, little more than a girl hoping for her father's approval, a spark derailed by betrayal. Are you ready for this? Vanessa whispered, her voice muffled by the relentless rain. I hesitated but found my resolve slipping through my fingers like grains of sand. I did not know what was to come or how to weave my own story amidst this chaos, but bypassing this conversation meant risking losing a part of me I didn't fully understand. That I can't run away, I murmured to myself, knowing this moment would shape me deeper than the fabric of any dress ever could. With a heavy heart but purposeful strides, I approached my father, ready to unravel the truth and perhaps somewhere amid the hurt and longing, find a piece of myself hidden within his story too. The rain poured down harder, and with every drop, It felt as though I was being soaked in memories long suppressed. I stood before my father, my heart a cacophony of emotions battling for dominance. His presence was a ghost from the past I had tried to forget, yet here he was, a living testament to everything I had lost. Jonathan shifted on his feet, his clothes clinging to him like the unshakable burden of regret. "Please," he said, his voice cracking, but not quite pleading. "Just give me a moment to explain." As I searched his eyes, I saw shadows of pain mirrored in my own, but they were also steeped in the courage it took to confront his long-standing mistakes. I felt Vanessa watching us, her comforting presence a lifeline that both steadied and terrified me. Could I truly navigate the labyrinth of feelings he would unearth? "Why did you leave?" I found my voice, a firm declaration despite the tremor in my chest. "What could possibly be worth walking away from your family?" He took a deep breath, as if summoning the strength to face the storm he had unleashed. "At the time, I thought I was protecting you and your mother. I was caught in a world of business that was toxic, consumed me, and I couldn't bring that darkness home. Protecting us? Or protecting yourself?" I shot back, bitterness creeping into my words. "Do you even know how your absence felt? Do you have any idea what it was like to grow up with an empty space where a father should be?" Vanessa stepped closer, her hand instinctively finding mine, a reminder that I wasn't alone in this suffocating whirlpool of raw emotions. "Talk to him, but remember, you have a right to express how you feel," she murmured, the weight of her words grounding me. Jonathan lowered his gaze, the guilt palpable. "I know I can never undo the hurt I caused, but I need you to understand I was drowning. I had to make a choice, one that I believed was for the best." "Drowning? You think I can take that excuse?" I felt the heat of anger rising, thick and dense like the rain-soaked air around us. "You should have chosen us. You could have fought for your family instead of running away." Running away was my way of trying to protect you from the monsters I was facing. And I didn't think I'd ever find my way back. His voice trembled, vulnerability etched in his features. "But the truth is, I never stopped thinking about you. Not a single day passed that I didn't wish I could turn back time." I stepped back, shaken. Could I really listen to the man I had condemned? Or would it only bring more pain? My heart raced as I became acutely aware of the precarious path before me. Could there be any path for forgiveness? Or was I destined to remain shackled by betrayal and resentment? And just when I thought I could lean into the possibility of healing, Greta emerged from the store, her businesslike demeanor clashing with the chaotic backdrop of the moment. Despite the rain cascading around us, she looked as if she had been crafted from unyielding steel. "We need to wrap this up, and the next show is in less than an hour," she said, her voice slicing through the tension like a cold blade. The business world had become a looming shadow, reminding me of everything I was turning my back on as Jonathan stood before me, the man I had so long wanted and feared to confront. "Please, don't let her dictate this moment," Jonathan pleaded, his voice gaining urgency. "You deserve to hear me out. I'll explain everything about why I left and how I've spent years trying to reconnect. You deserve to know why I chose to disappear." The conflict within me tightened its hold, rage and pain combating an unexpected flicker of hope. It felt as if I were standing at a crossroads paved with scars from the past and the glimmer of a chance for redemption. "Lily is waiting for me," I confessed, my voice barely above a whisper as I consulted the blunt reality that had invaded this charged moment. "It's Mom's birthday, and even after everything, I can't miss it. I owe it to her." Jonathan's eyes fell, a mirror reflecting the devastation I felt. "Then please, just promise me. We'll talk again. I don't want to lose you for another decade." "Promise? You think I can make promises in a conversation filled with such pain and regret?" And as soon as the words left my lips, I felt an ache echo through my entire being, the weight of unresolved conflict pinning down my hope. Before I could respond further, Greta interjected, her tone unforgiving. "You're wasting time. Those who are serious about their future don't leave for family dinners unprepared." With a final glance at my father, I felt the splintering fractures of our relationship gaping wide open. My heart raced between the bond we could rekindle and the unresolved animosities lurking beneath the surface as I turned toward the path back to the boutique. But just as I was about to leave, Vanessa squeezed my hand. No matter what, remember what you said earlier. Don't forget who you are at. My heart raced, each beat filled with so many intertwining emotions. The storm inside me eclipsed the rain pouring down, starting to boil over into resolution. Perhaps the answer wasn't to abandon one world for the other, but to weave them together, discovering my place amidst the chaos. Yet, as I turned, ready to step away, a chilling uncertainty gripped a weight in my gut that told me I was closer to unraveling a family's deepest secrets, and the truth would change everything. The rain had started to ease into a gentle drizzle, but the weight of unresolved emotions lingered like a heavy fog. Each step brought me closer to the boutique, but also deeper into a growing storm inside my heart. I could hear Vanessa's words echo in my mind, a mantra of strength amidst chaos. Lily is waiting for me, I repeated in my head, but it felt more like an excuse to run away from the confrontation heating in my chest. Beneath the protective veneer of business work and the cacophony of familial tension, I still had a sister who somehow always remained a part of the scattered fragments of my reality. Greta's crisp voice could still be felt behind me, an unseen reminder of the world I was racing back to, a world built on ice-cold decisions and business dealings. As I pushed open the boutique door, a chime announced my presence, sounding almost like a warning bell. The stunning array of wedding dresses hung on delicate hangers, each one a symbol of dreams forged and hopes stitched together, a juxtaposition to the war raging within me. Hey, there you are. Lily's exuberant voice cut through the tension like a knife. She was bustling around the floor, arranging details, prepping for the evening event, her eyes sparkling with excitement. You're just in time to help with the final touches. Mom's birthday dinner is going to be perfect. Is it? I asked, my voice barely weaving the excitement I wanted to convey. Guilt began to entwine itself with my joy at seeing her, for behind that light-hearted demeanor lay a wishful longing to bask in the affection of our mother, undisrupted by the chaos of the past. Yes, she twirled, a flow of fabric trailing her, mimicking the grace of a dancer caught in her moment. Do you think we should add the lace from the dress to her favorite chair? Kayla looked so grand. As I watched her enthusiasm unfurl before me, something fractured wide open within. I thought of the conversation I'd just had with Jonathan, the man who had left us in pursuit of something he thought was better both for us and himself. Had I given Lily a father when all I had known was absence? Did I have the right to drag her into this storm swirling in my soul? But before guilt could fully consume me, a gentle hand on my shoulder startled me back. Vanessa had followed me inside. Are you okay? She asked softly, the concern in her eyes illuminating the urgency I had buried deep. That I nodded, but the weight of the world felt heavier than before. I need to be here for Lily. I can't let everything fall apart now. I sighed, not entirely convinced. You don't always have to carry the burden alone, Vanessa replied, her voice a calming balm. You can still be there for Lily while facing whatever is to come. Sometimes, I wonder if I'm just going to break her heart again by admitting how I feel about Dad. And yet, not saying anything feels like another betrayal. A lump formed in my throat. You're not that little girl anymore. Afraid of shadows, she assured me, placing her hand over my racing heart. The past is complicated, yes, but you can shine a light on it. Even when the fear feels overwhelming, you can choose to explore it. Before I could respond, Lily returned, her infectious joy radiating through the gloom that had settled over us. Will you both help me figure out Mom's look for this evening? We want to surprise her. As we gathered around the dresses, the moment felt both heavy and light simultaneously. I admired the intricate details on the fabric, pondering how each stitch symbolized a commitment, a bond, much like the bond that had been frayed in my own family. Could we sew together the pieces of ourselves with tenderness, or would we let the thread keep pulling apart? Suddenly, tension rippled through the boutique as my phone buzzed loudly, breaking the warmth of the moment. Glancing at the screen, I felt my stomach drop. It was a message from Jonathan, an unexpected piercing through the quiet joy surrounding us. I know I don't have a claim on your heart anymore, but something is happening in the family that you need to know about. You don't have to. Forgive me, but you must listen. My breath hitched, uncertainty spiraling at his words. Vanessa must have seen my face fall, because her expression shifted from curiosity to concern. What is it? I hesitated. The room felt charged, secrets swirling as I grappled for air. What could possibly be so urgent that it warranted this abrupt intrusion into my sister's celebration? Ignoring it felt impossible, yet the choice I faced loomed larger than before. Would returning to that chaos, that unresolved hurt, risk further damaging the sanctity of Lily's special night? I need to take this, I finally replied, feeling a heavy decision settle in my chest. But as I stepped outside, the rain started up again, a torrent cascading down anew, mirroring my internal storm. Jonathan's words lingered ominously in the air. You must listen. The weight of anticipation became almost unbearable as I pressed the phone to my ear, fearing the revelation that could shatter the fragile peace I'd been trying to grasp. What more could he reveal? What truths had been hidden in the shadows, waiting to transform everything I thought I knew? As I inhaled the chilled air, tinged with apprehension, I remained suspended between family allegiances and the aching hope for a future built on understanding. Little did I know, the answers I sought would only open doors to deeper shadows and even more significant heartaches waiting to unfold. The rain was relentless, a grim backdrop to the whirlwind of thoughts swirling in my mind as I stood outside the boutique clutching the phone like a lifeline. Each drop splashed onto the pavement, mirroring the turmoil crashing over me. The message from Jonathan echoed ominously, hungry for a response. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself before hitting dial. Lily deserves this night, I muttered under my breath as I listened to the growing patter of rain on the asphalt. The boutique had glowed with warmth just moments ago, but now it felt like I was about to step into a frigid reality where my carefully constructed world could shatter at any moment. Hey, Jonathan's voice crackled through the line, hesitating like a pebble skipping over water. I know you might not want to talk to me, but I need you to listen. Things are complicated at home. Complicated? I questioned, feeling defensiveness rise within me. What does that even mean, Jonathan? You vanished, disappeared from our lives. You may have left, but trust me, the consequences didn't. I didn't just disappear. I was trying to protect you and Lily. There was a tremor in his voice, and I wondered if he felt the same ache of loss that permeated our past. But I messed up. Lily, it's more than you think. Mommy heart plummeted as I braced myself. What about Mom? She collapsed, and it's serious. The doctors are running tests, and I don't know what's going to happen. His voice broke, and for a moment, it felt like the world had swung upside down. Everything around me blurred: the falling rain, the vibrant colors of flowing fabric inside the boutique, the laughter of Lily that felt all too distant. Why didn't anyone tell me? I whispered, the anger curling tightly around my already frayed heart. I thought I could handle it alone. I didn't want to bring it up until I was sure, but there was an urgency weaving through his voice like a snare. She needs you. We need you. For a second, the thought of returning to that fractured family, the one I had tried to break away from, felt insurmountable. I don't know if I'm ready, Jonathan. After everything, it hurts too much. There was a pause, a breath between us thick with years of silence and unexpressed pain. This isn't about us anymore, Lily. It's about family, yours and mine together. You can choose to run, but what if there's still something worth saving? Just when I thought my heart couldn't bear any more weight, I felt a flicker of guilt mixed with a strange sense of hope. I had spent so long living dual lives, one for my sister and the boutique, the other locked firmly in the shadows of my past. If I go back, everything may just explode. That family can't seem to stay afloat without dragging everyone else down with it. You're stronger than that, Jonathan insisted, and for a moment, despite the years between us, I could hear echoes of the little girl who once looked up to her big brother. This is your chance to confront it all. You can't let fear have the final say. With an exhale, I challenged the tears threatening to pour out. My bond with Lily had to be protected at all costs. But what if facing Jonathan could offer the healing we desperately needed? The thought of being an anchor for my sister broke through the clouds of doubt gathering above. Fine, I said, squeezing my eyes shut, the raindrops mingling with the emotions battling within. They'll come. But he'll need you there, Jonathan. I can't do this by myself. It'll be there, I promise, he replied, a sense of urgency lacing his words. And Lily can't know what's happening yet. We need to keep her birthday as normal as possible. Right? I felt my heart race, hope weighing as heavily as despair. But as the reality hit me that I would have to navigate this delicate line between revealing the truth and keeping Lily's spirit intact, dread settled in my gut. As I walked back into the boutique, the laughter of my sister reached out to me, conflicting with the fear gripping my heart. Would I really manage to hold both worlds together? Would I just end up shattering the little foundation we had left? "Hey!" Lily exclaimed, her cheerful demeanor as bright as ever. "You were gone for so long. Did you figure out a surprise for Mom?" I hesitated, absorbing the scene, the lights shimmering against the dresses, my sister unfurling happiness like wings while I stood on the brink of revealing an approaching storm. My voice trembled, caught between joy and impending sorrow. "Yeah, something like that." But while my smile was forged, the truth lingered just out of reach, massive and looming like storm clouds threatening to engulf us. And in that moment, just when I thought I could find solace within the warmth of fabric and surprise parties, I felt the weight of Jonathan's revelation press down on me anew. As I caught Lily's gaze, I knew the facade I wore would soon be tested. I could feel the shadows creeping in, and the thought of letting her down once again sent chills through my spine. The clock was ticking, the storm raging, and little did we know, the cracks in our foundation ran deeper than any of us could have imagined. And what I really didn't expect was the unexpected call that would soon follow, appending everything we thought we knew, revealing secrets sealed many moons ago. The very threads connecting us were about to unravel, one by one revealing truths that would change everything. The boutique hummed with excitement, a stark contrast to the tempest brewing inside me. As I rejoined Lily, her radiant energy seemed to wrap around me like a warm blanket. She was blissfully unaware of the dark clouds gathering above our world. I feigned enthusiasm as she chattered on about party decorations, her eyes sparkling with the kind of innocence I feared to shatter. "Are you coming to help me pick out the perfect dress for the party?" Lily asked, pulling me toward the back of the store. "Of course, I am," I replied, forcing a smile that felt heavy along my lips as we browsed through dresses. I caught sight of a particularly striking gown, a delicate ivory creation that seemed to dance in the light. It reminded me of the wedding dress our mother had chosen long ago, an image fusing memories of love and happiness with the bitterness of what had followed. I felt a pang in my heart as I ran my fingers across the satin fabric, half expecting warmth to radiate from the threads that witnessed my family's dreams. "What do you think?" I could hear Lily's hopeful voice snap me back to reality. "It's beautiful, Lil. Just like you," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. But instead of the joy I wished to impart, the weight of Jonathan's call loomed like a shadow, pressing into the cracks of my resolve. I took a deep breath as I turned to face my sister, who wore an expectant smile. Would I have the strength to hold her hand while reconciliations brewed in the background? I couldn't let my fear of our family's history taint her laughter. Lily moved on to another dress, flipping through their vibrant array, but my eyes couldn't leave the ivory gown. It was an unspoken reminder of what we were once before everything had unraveled. Before Jonathan left, before our mother had grown distant, and before I became the emotional shield for my sister. "Let's try it on," she urged, already dragging me toward the dressing rooms with unbridled excitement as I helped her slip into the gown. The sight of her twirling under the bright lights filled my heart with a bittersweet ache. It was as if, for a heartbeat, all our troubles melted away, and we could live in this moment forever, reveling in beauty and laughter. "You look like a princess," I exclaimed, capturing the moment on my phone. "Just like Mom," she said, and my heart clenched. Those words sank deep within me, tethering my longing for normalcy to the reality that awaited us. How could I strip away this happiness? How could I possibly drag her into the impending storm? "Let's take a picture for her," I suggested, desperately trying to preserve this sliver of joy. I could feel my resolve crumbling under the mounting pressure to bridge the gap between the two worlds. Lily's giggles filled the air the second I held up my phone. Just as I captured a perfect shot, my phone buzzed with intensity, pulling my mind back to the impending reality. The message flashed across the screen, a reminder of an urgent meeting for Jonathan at the hospital. My heart raced as Jonathan's name glared at me, pulling me away from the blissful moment with Lily. "What's wrong, sis?" Lily's eyes searched mine, the innocence and warmth making my heart ache even deeper. "Nothing. Just business stuff," I quickly tossed out. But the unease must have seeped through my facade because her brow furrowed in worry. "Are you sure you're okay?" "Yeah," I forced a smile that barely reached my eyes. "Let's focus on you. You deserve to have a perfect birthday." The words hung heavy between us, a reminder that my internal battle was not hers to bear. I wanted to protect her, to keep the dark truths from infringing on her happiness. We had to make it through today, and then I could gather my strength for what awaited us. But just when I thought we were veering towards our moment of hope, the atmosphere shifted when the store's door swung open, revealing a tall figure dressed in business attire. My heart dropped as I recognized the familiar face, yet it was his fierce expression that sent a wave of dread through me. "Jonathan," I exclaimed, the moment hanging in the air. Swirling around us, his eyes darted to me, then to Lily, who toyed with the hem of the dress, unaware of the tension mounting. The unspoken words between us seemed to pulse in the air, charging our surroundings. "We need to talk," he said curtly, his urgency infectious and chilling all at once. The warm atmosphere of the boutique crumpled under the weight of his presence. Suddenly, our perfect moment was replaced by the looming reality of burden and bitter choices. "Can it wait?" I asked, desperate to shield Lily from the disruption. He shook his head. "Can't, and you know it." I glanced back at my sister. Her smile faded, confusion filling her eyes. In this moment, I was caught between two worlds. My heart was leading me toward hope for Lily, yet shadows of family drama threatened to suffocate us both. "Can we at least finish here first?" I pushed, unwilling to unravel all that we had built in this fleeting window of happiness. "I'm sorry, but it's urgent. This is about Mom." The words felt like an iceberg crashing into my heart, sending fear spiraling within. I swallowed hard, knowing that it may be now or never. Behind Jonathan's fervent pull, a revelation lurked that could change everything. And just when I thought I was ready to face fate, a second message chimed into my phone, and the sudden dread that followed solidified my worst fears. "Lily, go wait for me back there. Okay?" I directed, trying to regain control of the situation, the anxiety in my gut twisting tighter. "Okay," she replied slowly, retreating toward the fitting room area with a puzzled look. Leaving me alone to face Jonathan, soon as she disappeared from view, Jonathan leaned closer, visceral tension coursing through us. "I didn't want to tell you this over the phone, but you need to know there's something wrong. Lily." "What do you mean?" His eyes darkened. "Someone is coming after the company. They've got inside information and it involves us, the wedding dress line you've been working on. I think it has something to do with Mom's collapse." What he was suggesting struck me like a thunderbolt, raising questions I wasn't ready to confront. My stomach twisted at the intertwining of business and family crises, a threat enveloping everything I had worked to protect. "Jonathan, Lily needs to be protected," he interrupted, urgency flooding his tone. "But we need to act fast. I can't lose her like we lost Mom." A knot formed in my throat. The thought of Lily, the girl I'd spent so many years trying to shield caught in a familial tempest, sent icy fear rushing through me. I took a steadying breath, grappling with the reality that the bonds of our family, delicate as they were, might be about to face their greatest test yet. A storm was brewing, filled with more than just familial troubles. Threats lurked in the shadows, ambitious hands reaching through the darkness to grasp for what we held dear. And just when I thought I had begun to grasp what was coming next, my phone buzzed again, leading me to uncover the revelation that would test every shred of loyalty, love, and resilience within me. Would the sleek thread of fabric we held together slip like sand through my fingers? Or could it somehow become our lifeline? The questions hung heavy as the world shifted beneath us, a dark herald of a battle yet to unfold. The boutique's comforting hum was replaced by the oppressive silence that lingered between us. Jonathan's news hung in the air, heavy and ominous, while my heart quickened with a mix of dread and uncertainty. I studied Jonathan's face, searching for any glimmer of the brother I used to know, his brow furrowed, jaw tense. Gone were the carefree days when we could laugh together over childhood memories of racing our bikes down the street, taunting each other about who would get stuck doing the dishes. Jonathan, I breathed out, calming the rising tide of panic within me. What do you mean someone is coming after the company? And how could it involve Mom? His eyes bore into mine, and for a fleeting moment, I saw something softer beneath his hardened exterior, a flicker of the bond we had once shared, now strained and frayed. I think they believe Mom had insider information about the new designs. After the wedding dress line launched, there was a lot of buzz and scrutiny. I can't let Lily get caught in the middle of this. We can't let this family be torn apart any further, he said, desperation coating his words like honey, both sweet and suffocating. In that instant, I understood the depth of his warning, and my chest tightened with the realization that the weight of our family's legacy rested heavily upon us. The very existence of the dress that had evoked such pain and hope within me was now a two-edged sword, threatening to unleash a tumultuous tide of consequences. What's your plan? I asked, my voice steadied by newfound determination. If we're going to protect Lily and the company, we need to be strategic. He shook his head, unraveling my fleeting sense of agency. I don't know. I only have leads, nothing concrete. We have to tread carefully. As a child, I had always looked to Jonathan as my protector, capable of spinning dreams from shadows. Now, seeing him stripped down by the weight of responsibility broke something deep inside me. Vulnerability flickered, and yet this mercurial fear manifested itself into an unexpected resolve. What if we turn the tables? I proposed, a wild idea bursting forth. Instead of letting them come after us, what if we confront whoever is behind this? We can show our strength as a family together. His eyes widened, but flickers of uncertainty clouded his expression. And if we fail? If this risks more than we bargained for? Then we gamble on the only thing we have left each other, I countered, heat pooling in my chest. We're not just our parents' children anymore, Jonathan. We're our own people, capable of stepping up and facing our demons head-on. We can do this together. He stared at me, a war raging behind his eyes as he wrestled with his instincts. You really believe that? I do, I reassured him. But first, we have to protect Lily. She's our priority. Let's keep her out of the chaos while we investigate. Okay? A wave of resolve washed over Jonathan as we locked eyes, an unspoken understanding bridging the chasm between us. The familiarity of his presence, despite the storm clouding our family, began to shift something inside me. But as I glanced toward the fitting room, where Lily had vanished, a knot formed in my stomach. In our pursuit of protection, I was desperate to shield her from the encroaching darkness. Yet the weight of that very desire urged me to relive the moments that had stitched her innocence from the threads of pain. Before I could grope for the words to reassure him further, my phone vibrated once again, a reminder of the looming urgency. Without a second thought, I fished it out of my pocket, my fingers trembling at what I might find. One new notification. With a mix of trepidation and hope, I opened it, my heart plummeting as I read the content. It was from a contact labeled unknown, and it contained a photo that felt like a punch to the gut. Lily, standing outside the boutique with a stranger. Jonathan, I gasped, urgency clawing at my throat. We need to go. His expression hardened, interpreting my unease like a threat. What is it? This text. There's someone out there with her. My heart raced as we pushed out of the boutique, weaving through the aisles with frantic motions, vulnerability morphing into action. By the time we burst through the door, I could hardly breathe. There she was, our sister, laughing with someone I couldn't see clearly, shadows engulfing their interaction. Lily, I called out, panic melding into the air between us, desperation dictating my every motion. She turned, startled, her face brightening at the sight of us. Oh hey, look who I met, she said, blissfully unaware of the danger shaping just beyond the horizon. And my heart dropped into my gut as I finally caught sight of the stranger, a face that sparked recognition from a past I had tried so hard to escape. It was a face I thought I wouldn't have to confront ever again. a reminder of the chaos that had once consumed our family. Jonathan, look, but even as the words left my lips, I was struck by the sense of inevitability. The call of our history was now resurrected in the form of this unexpected encounter, and all I could do was stand frozen, teetering on the precipice of a nightmare disguised as a simple reunion. In the swift current of emotions, hope battled against despair, and the future seemed less certain than ever. The threads of our fate were tightening, weave after tenuous weave, each moment bringing us closer to an unseen storm that would challenge us yet again. And as the stranger stepped closer, recognition burning in their eyes, I realized we were no longer just holding our family together, we were fighting a war that could unravel everything we cherished. The air was thick with a tension I could hardly breathe through. Recognizing the stranger immediately initiated a torrent of memories I thought I'd buried deep, visceral images of laughter and betrayal swirling together until I couldn't tell which was which. "Lily, come here," I commanded, my voice skittering into an edge of fear. She looked momentarily stunned but took a step back, her brow knit in confusion as she turned to face me fully. "Why? This is Josh. He's a really cool designer from that pop-up I told you about." Her bright smile was pristine against the backdrop of my crashing heart. "Let me talk to you for a second, please," I insisted, my tone brooking no argument. The instinct to pull my sister from this encounter surged inside me, raw and demanding. Lily hesitated, glancing between Josh and me, the innocent sparkle in her eyes dimming slightly from my urgency. "But we were just talking about fabrics now," I said, stepping closer, urgency making my voice tighter. Jonathan stood stiff beside me, his eyes narrowed at the man who had invaded our fragile world so suddenly. There was an unmistakable flicker of recognition within him too, mirrored in his tightly clenched jaw. The last time I saw Josh, it had been at a celebration that turned into a free-for-all. Whispers of corporate sabotage and ill intentions had heated the air around us like a suffocating mantle. "Hey, I didn't realize you had such a protective older sister," Josh replied nonchalantly, but beneath the surface, there was a calculated awareness. I forced myself to breathe evenly, fraying nerves threatening to unravel at any moment. "We need to go, Lily, now," I urged, my heart racing. "Wait a second. Raven, what's wrong?" she demanded, confusion knitting her small brows together tightly. This protective shielding I desperately wanted to put in place was coming undone with every second that Josh lingered by her side. It wasn't lost on me that the only thing that would empower him was my fear, my desire to keep Lily safe. I could sense how she remained blissfully innocent to the undertones of danger threaded through our family history. "Do you know who he is?" Jonathan spoke up, his voice harsh yet faltering, as he pointed at Josh. "He's the one whose company collapsed and rumors about sabotage hung over the aftermath like a haze." "What?" Lily whispered, looking back at Josh with a mix of surprise and concern that only aggravated my worry. "Rumors don't define me," Josh replied coolly, settling into that charming, disarming smile that had once enraptured me as a youth. It wasn't charm anymore. It was an armor. "I'm here pursuing a collaboration, that's all." I felt Jonathan at my side, a quiet resolve hardening in him, like steel forged under pressure. "Leave her out of this, Josh. You don't belong here," he warned, voice low and tightly coiled, echoing the gravity of our circumstances. "I'm just a designer trying to forge connections," he insisted, though the glint in his eye betrayed a deeper agenda. "We know how the world plays, however naive that may be," and there it was, the bait, dangled temptingly as always, trying to lure us back into the chaos that cloaked our family name. I shook off the chill that felt like ice on my skin, the awareness of just how finely our fates were woven together. "Let's go, Lily," I urged again, reaching out to grasp her wrist gently, but instinctively she pulled back, slipping her hand out of my grasp. "This isn't fair. You're not giving me a chance to explain." She was indignant now, her youthful spirit flaring with a fiery edge. "Look, I can meet with you both later," Josh attempted, glancing between us. "I think we could work together and keep things amicable. I promise I'm not a threat." My blood boiled at his words, but before I could retort, Lily's expression shifted from indignation to contemplation. "But I do want to hear what he has to say, Raven." It felt like the ground beneath my feet was crumbling. All I wanted to do was shield her from the darkness that loomed. I felt Jonathan touch my arm gently, grounding me, even as uncertainty flashed in his eyes. "Lily, please, let's just go home. You don't know him," I pleaded, my voice softer now, the fear for her wrapping around every syllable. "Maybe you're just trying to protect me because you're scared. Maybe if you listened to him, you'd see it differently," she countered, her voice full of conviction as if I was the one blinded by fear. But my mantle of strength had begun to fracture. "I am scared, Lily. Scared of losing you in this absurd battle that has nothing to do with your talent or spirit. You deserve so much better." "Raven, I'm not a child anymore," she shot back. "No, you're not," I choked out, feeling the weight of my own heartache. "And that's exactly why I can't let you make the kinds of choices that might trap you into something you want to escape." The pool of silence surrounding us was deepening, suffocating, and for a moment, time seemed suspended in a brutal standoff. Then, as if fate orchestrated it, Josh stepped forward, a slight smirk tugging at the corners of his lips as if savoring our turmoil. "Let's not make this harder than it has to be," he said, a casual confidence radiating from him. "You could see this as a new opportunity, Lily, a chance to step into a bigger world." Something stirred, a venomous hope, a taste of betrayal bubbling in the air. And as Jonathan's hand tightened into a fist at his side, I felt a realization wash over me like a summer storm. This was just the precursor to a far more significant battle to come. One that would test our connections, our resolve, and the very foundation of our shared history. "Maybe this isn't over yet," Josh said, and every ounce of my gut nodded at the implications of those words. As uncertainty bloomed in that moment, thick as the shadowing clouds above us, I felt the stakes rise into the realm of the unimaginable. Our family's tangled ties were summoning darkness, and I knew instinctively that Josh would be just the beginning of the chaos that could threaten to dismantle everything we held dear. The chaos swarmed around us like hungry wolves, pressing in on every side. I watched as Lily's bright smile faded to uncertainty, her innocence hanging precariously in the balance, and dread pooled in my stomach. Despite the warmth of the boutique, I felt the chill of danger hover just out of sight. "Josh isn't just a designer," I reiterated sharply, urgency coursing through my veins. "He's part of a past we're still escaping. You can't trust him." But even as the words tumbled from my mouth, I felt a pang of guilt, the burden of being the fearful guardian weighing heavily on my heart. "Are you only saying that because you're scared he'll expose you?" Lily shot back. There was fire in her voice, a flame I'd ignited within her that I now worried would burn us both. "I just want a chance to hear what he has to say." "You haven't even given him a chance. Lily, you have to understand, it's not about fear. It's about protecting you," I said, desperation slipping into my tone. "Your sister is trying to keep you from getting hurt," Jonathan added, soft but firm, grounding me amidst the storm. "Then let me make my own decisions," she insisted, her spirit fiery, and in that moment, I felt a crack deepen a wound from which I had formed every protective layer around me, now ripping apart as she fought to break free. But Josh stepped forward, seamlessly sliding into the void with an air of nonchalance that was disconcerting. "Look, I can show you both how extraordinary the fashion world can be," he said, a smile on his face that promised easily won dreams. "Let's not fight. There's potential here, real potential. We can make magic together." The air around us buzzed with sweetness and tension, and as curiosity flickered in Lily's eyes like sparks, I felt my heart dance with fear and concern, flaring at the thought that the very future I'd fought to protect could crumble with a single misstep. "Lily, just because he has fancy words doesn't mean he's right," I pleaded, glancing to Jonathan for support. But he stood rigid at my side, the tension in his jaw demonstrating that the tide had shifted. There was something undeniably alluring about the energy Josh exuded. He was set to mesmerize, and the last thing I wanted was for my sister to be swept into that dangerous current. "Wouldn't it be amazing to break into the industry, Raven?" Lily's voice was softer now, laced with longing. I felt something special when I spoke with him. I know that it could be life-changing. In that brief moment of yearning, my resolve wavered. Despite the swirling chaos, I had only ever wanted to lift her up so she could be everything remarkable she was destined to be. But not like this. Not with Josh. Sweetheart, your dreams are beautiful. But you must be careful to chase them blindfolded is to risk tripping and falling into the darkest abyss. There are consequences to this world that are hidden behind the glittering surface. Lily's eyes dropped, full of disappointment. I just want to explore a world outside of our tiny bubble. You don't understand what it's like feeling trapped in a family that carries burdens that aren't my own. A shock ran through me as her words struck a deep chord. My heart tightened with the truth of what she said. I felt the weight of expectation hung beneath the glitter of a world many dreamt of but few ever dared to traverse safely. Then let's change that, I encouraged, trying to tap into her fire while thrusting aside my own fears. But it doesn't have to mean lingering among shadows that threaten to steal your happiness. Before she could respond, Josh cleared his throat. With respect, Raven, I think we can all agree that Lily deserves a chance, perhaps even to push beyond her current path. This dress line is a symbol of something far more expansive. Jonathan and I exchanged wary glances, an unspoken barrier shimmering temporarily between us, the weight of family legacy thick as fog encircling our hearts. She's not ready for this, I fired back, my heart racing, and the anger surged as I battled both this man and my sister's grappling aspirations. But before I could muster more, a flash of movement caught my eye. A quick glance at Lily, her expression resolute but unsure, reflected that a decision lay heavy on her shoulders. Josh, she said finally, her voice faltering, what is it you want from us? It was as if a pair of sharp thorns pressed directly through my heart as I watched her wrestle with her own hopes, not yet aware of the suffering they might yield. I just want to foster talent. The two of you are a once-in-a-lifetime chance for something special, Josh replied, his demeanor so smooth it was nearly entrancing. Together we could disrupt the fashion world. And Raven, I could even make your voice heard in ways you've never imagined. At that moment, my heart thudded violently. Vulnerability snaked through me. I knew even then that I was grappling with a desperate longing not for Josh or the ambition he dangled like a worm on a hook, but for the sense of agency that had faded from our lives under the weight of expectations and familial burdens. I wanted it to flourish, but not at the risk of losing what truly mattered me, sister, and our family. Why is it always about ambition with you? I asked, my voice rising amid the pressure building to a peak. There are more important things than success, and I feel like you're trading on our insecurities. A menacing silence ensued as Josh recoiled slightly, caught off guard. But he quickly regained composure, an unsettling grin creeping across his face. It's not trading on insecurities, Raven. It's about embracing the chaos to craft greatness. And sometimes you need to dance with shadows to find the light. Not if those shadows threaten the people I love. I bit back, my strength returning from that dark corner. You're offering illusions, not dreams. Perhaps you're too close to see what's at stake. His words dripped with taunting confidence, and rage simmered beneath the surface of my skin. As Lily stood between us, her internal conflict palpable, I reached for her, planting our fingers together. I had to guide her, hands steady amid our tumultuous tides. What we need, Lily, is for you to feel empowered and supported, not by lies that twist your truths. Family matters. Together, we rise? My sister looked to me, wide eyes shimmering with uncertainty before turning back to Josh, seeking affirmation amidst confusion. This was the moment where we needed to unite, to refuse the darkness before it consumed us all. Lily, choose what makes you genuinely happy, I urged, fear etching through my heart. Where do you want to go when you spread your wings? Her earthen resolve emerged, and the decision flickered within her gaze. A moment of silence held our shared breaths, and we were suspended, the tension on a razor's edge. I don't want to lose you, Raven. A tremor danced in her voice, and with a soft catch of air, she whispered, but I also don't want to lose this chance. But just then, like the universe conspired against us, the storm gathered in earnest, and the door burst open, the rain swirling as a fierce figure invaded our space. Greta Sullivan, the orchestrator of many ambitious dreams, stepped through, cutting through the fragile atmosphere with raw authority. "Time's up," she commanded, her piercing gaze trained on me and Jonathan. "I suggest we get our priorities straightened out. Business beckons, and there's no room for innocence when you're caught in the crossfire." Every breath fluttered with uncertainty as a decision loomed on my horizon, one that would ripple across our tightly woven threads of family. And then a sudden inspiration flashed into Clarissa, realization that hit with the force of a tidal wave. In that moment, I understood my journey wasn't simply about individual success, it was about us confronting our shadows together and crafting our future while weaving the scars of the past into something far more substantial. Standing at that precipice, heart ablaze, I finally realized something invaluable. It wasn't the distance between us that defined our family. It was our ability to bridge it. "Let's face it together," I said, locking eyes with Jonathan, and then as I turned to Lily, my sister's presence felt like the heart of every truth waiting to unfold. "Whatever shadows come our way, together we'll create our own light." And as those words escaped, they birthed a bond we had long thought lost in the chaos and competitive ambitions that had ruled our lives. Shadows may linger, but through the clouds of uncertainty, we would become our own answer, stitching together a future unbound. In that instant, hope surged through the atmosphere, tangible and real. Whatever came next, we would stand as a family, confronting every challenge because together, we would rise against the darkness together, armed with love, and the clarity of who we were and how unbreakable those ties could be. Instantly enraptured by the remnants of the storm, the once daunting silence whispered lush promises of tomorrow. Bound by love, the threads connecting us wove tighter than fabric, and as we stepped into the tempest, forged and unafraid, I knew that we were about to alter the very course of our history. Together, we might just weather whatever storm waited beyond.